Hey, so I wanted to share just some things due to some of the timing with the coronavirus, but not really centered around that. It's really about resting instead of stressing. Um, Resting instead of stressing. So, a lot of us during this time period, we're dealing with maybe schedules changing up, maybe having kids home and we're not used to that, maybe having different work hours. And there's like, even though it's just like the inconveniences and the discomforts of like grocery shopping and that being like just not what it was or what we're used to, and just different things like that. And I wanted to encourage you to just really look at what can be the blessing in this time, what can be the good that you can find out of here, because we're all going to go through this and we're all going to have the time is going to pass. But we can really decide on like if this was a really sweet season of like learning and growth and just changing our life a little bit, or if this was a miserable season of scarcity and stress. So I want to come on here with some encouragement, hopefully for you on that. But so with your schedules and stuff even changing, or different things in your environment, I would encourage you to optimize on habits that you're wanting to form. So for forming successful habits, one of the key advantages you can actually implement to help you have like that extra boost when you're trying to form habits is like after a move, like when you've moved a town, cities, homes, your job, if it's changed, your schedules, if you're coming into a new season and your schedules are different, like that, and also your environment. So like even if you redo like your room setting and like paint the walls and change it up, that can too, like rearrange the furniture, which is one reason in the reset program we do use resetting your home to not only support and function well for supporting your habits, but also as a way to change your environment so that clean habits stick a little bit better. And what it is like your mind just approaches when things like that change. It's like, oh wait, we're off our like autopilot course, like, and it basically sees it as a brand new canvas. Like it's a free canvas for you to paint on, for you to prioritize what really matters to you in your life and get around to it. So optimize the fact that like, hey, if you've got your schedule kind of changing, this could be actually a really good thing. If you have some key habits that you've been wanting to implement but it's been harder, maybe now's the time to get those under your belt, because your brain is already saying it's not really the same. So we're like actually looking around for that white canvas, and you could be the artist showing up to that white canvas and painting it, or you could let that period of time pass and your brain will start to figure out, okay, well, I guess this is kind of the new schedule and I guess we'll kind of do this and that, and you'll just kind of fall back into maybe a different schedule, a different version of your old habits. So optimize the ability to create some really good new ones in this blank canvas kind of timing for your brain. One of the big habits that I would definitely try to optimize in the season is rest. Rest is going to be really good for your immune system, so really great timing to do that. But rest is also good for like your emotional and mental health. It's good for your spiritual health too to have rest in it. So particularly since a lot of us are women in this group, or that follow, I want to talk about resting when you have hormonal imbalances, and you're dealing with that, because I feel like that's a whole new ball game just when you're dealing with that. And hormonal imbalance is often caused by stress that spikes cortisol, which is the hormone there, and like it can start triggering this downslide of things. So hormone balance and stress go like this together. So a couple of things that you can try to kind of help reduce stress and then also optimize like bringing balance to your hormone levels would be things like, okay, before bed, try having some healthy fats. Typically, you're going to hear like before bed not to eat 3 hours before bed or 2 hours or whatever it is. That is the typical, but if you have hormonal issues, especially if you have like something like PCOS, like try actually having some healthy fats before bed, because it will help some of your hormonal stuff where you're not waking up in the middle of the night and dealing with insomnia and those things that do come with hormone imbalance. So healthy fats like maybe avocado, maybe some peanut butter, or maybe just some olive oil, even like just have a little bit of that before you go to bed to help with your hormones, and hopefully help you to sleep more restfully through the night and not have some of the other symptoms. Another thing you do, and this is really any time of day, but any time of day you're feeling stressed or maybe you're just wanting to relax before bed, is to lie down on the floor with your feet facing up. So your feet would be up against the wall, and your bottom would be like up against the wall too, but feet going up, and your hip and your lower back, you want to just allow it to sink into the floor. And what it does is the pressure change there and everything, it actually physically releases basically more relaxed vibes, like, okay, stop the stress, stop the cortisol, like we're on the relax. It's triggering your mind to have this, we are safe, and that's going all through your body. And so for managing your cortisol levels, for managing hormonal health, for managing your stress, even if the others aren't like a big deal to you, this can be a really good one to physically change your stress response, all the triggers and the signals that your body is giving. And to be in stress, it's not like you have to start sweating or like start feeling all of a sudden high blood pressure, but when your body is in stress, it's starting to send little signals like, hey, we need to get this going, the heart rate needs to go up, and slow changes that will raise that blood pressure, raise the heart rate, raise the cortisol level. Like, it's a slow, feel that you start to get in your body. So that helps with that. And I do use essential oils. I diffuse them at night. So some of my favorites are like Serenity, Vetiver, Cedarwood, Holiday Peace. Oh my goodness, that's definitely my favorite. Woodsy oils are really good because they're grounding and centering and they're calming. Some floral oils are also really great. So rose is also really good. And frankincense. I will say, if you are someone who uses lavender and you actually do not feel calmer, you actually get more revved up, you are like the few people like with Benadryl that when they use Benadryl, they get revved up. You need to make the switch from lavender to wild orange. And I know that kind of feels strange because wild orange is usually an energetic oil, but it will actually help to calm you and give you more restful sleep. So just trust me and try it, and go with it. So another thing is definitely your lights. Your lighting situation can help or promote sleep, but it can also, if you have lights or night lights and stuff like that, it can also take away from it. So there are a couple things like that you can do for stress. And I know the adaptive essential oil blend, by the way, since we're reducing stress, that's really good for reducing stress. So they have the soft gel and the oil. I take both if I'm having a really stressful day or really just can't turn off my mental mind, and that can help too. So those are other supplements that I would take, more so for stress, because stress does affect sleep. Quite often it is a thing that can keep you up at night in bed. So managing stress helps you manage better rest. The other thing I want to talk about on this video is just where spiritually this has landed for me and where my journey has been on getting rest. So I really struggled with burning the candle on both ends, to staying up late and rising up early and getting more done and stuff. And I remember when the Lord started to really work on me, and he's one of the verses was that one in Psalms that talks about the Lord, he neither slumbers nor sleeps. And I was convicted that, man, when I am trying to burn the candle on both ends, I'm essentially trying to be more like God. Like, I'm human, but I can take it a little bit more, God. I can be closer to you, God. And that's just not the case. He is the only one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. And that's because he's God, and we are not designed for that. The other one was from Psalm 127, verse 2, and I'm going to read that one actually. It says, "It is vain for you to rise up early, to retire late, to eat the bread of painful labors, for he gives to his beloved in his sleep." And so the other thing that the Lord just used this verse right here was just to convict me in my heart and my thoughts what the real issue was, is that I was not resting and trusting in Him. And Him to be enough, and Him to give enough. While I'm sleeping, I wasn't able to trust Him. I wasn't trusting in Him. Instead, I had the mentality that like there wasn't enough time and there wasn't enough support or enough help or whatever, and I just needed to do it all. If I wanted it done, I needed to do it. Versus trusting Him to provide me what I needed, provide me the time that I needed in a day to get done what I actually needed and not just what I thought I needed. And trusting ultimately that He could provide me anything. And it wasn't up to me. It was really more up to His goodness, and trusting in His goodness for that. And having just even coming from the mindset of like less of a lack mentality, like there's not enough to go around, there's not enough time, there's not enough help, to a there's more than enough time to get what I need to get done, there's more than enough help, like there's more than enough that God has given me and that He will give me, and trusting completely in Him to shut it off at a proper time, to get the rest that I needed, 8 hours of sleep. And that was just something in my heart that I knew, like, this was something that, it was a heart issue more than, definitely I had the hormone imbalance stuff, and like, I definitely have to be careful about that stuff. I feel like I'm very sensitive to that hormonal wise, but there was also a heart thing going on that I needed to work in, that I needed to release my grip of control and wanting to, muscle through it and just completely trust Him that if it's good for me and He wants to provide it, He will provide it. It doesn't have to always come down to me. And I don't have to be the, person that I rely on. Like, I need to rely on the Lord. And so that was one thing that just like really helped me when I had that move out of that state of really depending on myself to do it all, and just not relying and trusting, and learning to rely and trust in Him. And I've seen, since working through this, I've seen Him expand my work. I've seen Him expand so much in my life. And I'm just thinking, was what was holding it back? Was it me? Was it the fact that I could not release control and just trust? And that God wanted me to maybe trust before He wanted to bless, because He wanted me to totally see that it's coming from Him and not myself. I don't know, but I do know that a well-rested person is way more efficient in their work than a sleep-deprived person. So there is also some science to that too. But that's just part of the spiritual journey that I was on when it came to resting instead of choosing stress and work. And I encourage you to make some time to rest for yourself. Make some time to rest physically, sleeping, but also resting just your mind. Maybe doing something that you love, a book, maybe it's gardening. There are many ways that we rest our minds. Maybe it's resting spiritually and just taking some time to get good nutrition there. I will say this. A lot of times our cultural mistakes rest for being like on Instagram or Facebook or doing movies even sometimes. Those are not true restful activities, because what has been studied and shown is when you're looking at your phone and your lights and stuff that come out, the blue light, your brain is being triggered like this. It's like speedway highways, like fast. It is the same thing that happens when you're actually seeing something that is stressful or to trigger stress, like a fight or flight. It's the same speedway. And so what you're actually doing is you're really triggering or supporting stress when you grab your phone to decompress or to relax. So I would say try to find something that doesn't involve your phone. And you'll be surprised how much you feel so much more rejuvenated and much more restful without the phone. The phones are addictive, so we do feel like, oh no, that is what I really want to do for rest. Maybe just try a week where that's not your rest go-to, because they are definitely like same firing everything that your brain does when it is in a high stress state. So we want to give our brains and our bodies time to actually rest and get the right signals. So, all right, well, that's all I have as far as rest and de-stress. Don't stress, just rest and trust. Trust in God and His promises.